Okay, today we're reviewing The Muppet Show. Oh, that'll be fun.
Hello, boss.
Who are you?
I'm Baravelli. I want to be your new producer.
You want to be my new producer?
Sure. I'm thinking I like to boss people around. I got no skills, so I'm a producer.
Look, the best I can do is pay you to sweep out the place when I'm done with the show.
Sure, that's a fine for me, but I got a partner.
Good lord, a fake Newton with legs.
That's my partner, but he no speak.
Oh, he's your silent partner. Well, if you want to be my producer, you need to know a lot about comic books. Do you know anything about comic books?
Well, let me think. I know read the Revengers, and I know read the Super Duper Man.
Well, are there any other comics you didn't read?
I no think so. Wait, I just think of something else I know read.
What was that?
I didn't hear anything. Some joke, huh, boss?
Woof. Look, do you know anything about comic books?
Well, I do read Wonder Woman once. Hey, boss, I'd sure like to see more of her.
So would I, but that's as small as her costume gets. Now, how much are you going to charge me to produce my show?
Well, boss, to produce your show, I charge you $100.
$100, okay.
Now, to produce your rehearsals, I charge you $200.
You're going to charge me $200 to produce my rehearsals?
Sure. Now, to no produce your show, that's going to be $300.
How much to not produce my rehearsals?
You couldn't afford it.
Oi. Look, I don't want you or your talkative buddy here anywhere near my show, okay?
That's fine. You hear that, the Pinky?
Wait a minute, you're happy that you're not going to be producing my show?
Sure. I know produce your show, boss. That means you owe me $300.
It's worth every penny.
Hey, boss, it's hot in here. How about opening the window, huh?
That was a suggestion. That means you're producing my show. That's $200 you owe me.
Hey, I bet I'm gonna lose money on the deal.
Look, folks, this could take a while. Enjoy the show. Now come here, Baravelli. Look, I want to...
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, motivational.
Bonjour, mes amis. Je m'appelle Monsieur Kanga. And I'm Thurston Growl. Now, apparently the Last Angry Geek is a bit busy today, so he asked us to host these live-action segments where we review Boom Studios' The Muppet Show comic book. We look at issues 4 through 7, a story called Family Reunion. Take it away, Monsieur Geek de Angry. Now, I'm confused. I thought kangaroos were from Australia. They have kangaroos in France. Thanks, guys. We start this story by focusing in on two strangely familiar old men playing what looks to be a game of chess in what looks to be heaven. Have Statler and Waldorf died? Well, according to the writer of this series, Roger Langridge, they're just two familiar-looking celestial beings, but nevertheless we don't see Statler and Waldorf in the theater during this story. Anyway, the idea of this game is to cause as much chaos as possible. This brings a special guest back into the Muppets' lives with the appearance of Scooter's sister! Oh, right. Scooter's sister, who's named Scooter's sister! Okay, well, we never get her name, not until the last pages of issue 7, but Scooter's sister was famously created for Muppet Babies, because apparently there weren't enough female Muppets to add a second girl to that cast. She then failed an impossible mission and was quickly disavowed as she never appeared after that series. Until now. Boom Studios worked out some sort of deal with the Muppets owners at Disney, and thus the character is constantly referred to as... Boys?
Scooter's sister!
Thank you. So Scooter's sister shows up at the famous Muppet Theater looking for a job and pressing Scooter's buttons by constantly calling him a nerd.
I'm not a nerd. Nerds are smart.
She takes Gonzo's place in a cannon stunt and finds out that it was Scooter's mighty nerd powers that worked out her trajectory and kept her from turning into an orange smear on the wall. A new understanding between brother and sister is reached, and all is well. The format is similar to the TV version of The Muppet Show, with the Scooter's sister storyline taking the place of the running story and interspaced with such sketches as Pigs in Space, Muppet Labs, and Sam the Eagle's attempt at Shakespeare. Family Reunion, the name of the story arc, continues with perhaps the most regrettable additions to the Muppet family, Andy and Randy Pig, Miss Piggy's nephews last seen on Muppets Tonight. They make nuisances of themselves against the backdrop of Pigs in Space, Veterinarian's Hospital, and a black and white song called The Girl with the Goo Goo Eyes, and finally, Pygmalion. After upsetting Aunt Piggy, Andy and Randy get some advice from
Scooter's sister!
No! I don't care what the comic book calls her, I'm not spending the whole review calling her Scooter's sister. It's Skeeter, okay? Just Skeeter. Anyway, Skeeter gives them some advice, and Andy and Randy earn enough money to buy Piggy a present. a 2-week class at a charm school, thus humiliating Miss Piggy.
Do you think pigs can be charming and productive members of society?
I don't know. Let's discuss it over a ham sandwich. The fun continues in part 3 with Kermit's nephew Robin. In between Wayne and Wanda, Walk Like a Chicken, a Frog Scout production of Death of a Salesman and yet more pigs in space, Robin is feeling unappreciated. Skeeter, continuing her role of chaotic wildcard, mistakes a woman as being from an orphanage. It's up to Kermit and a fake beard to set them straight, and all is made right when the Muppets present Robin with a new bike to thank him for all the work he does around the theater. Have you ever had frog's legs?
No, but once I ate a toad stool. What a trip.
That's as good as the jokes will get, folks. The final chapter of Family Reunion features Fozzie understandably upset that his mother and his childhood sweetheart are coming to visit. In standard sitcom plot number 7, Fozzie's been sending his mother letters telling her he's dating a girl and he's also a successful private investigator's assistant. Being a comedian is just an undercover gig. So of course he gets Skeeter to pose as both the detective and his girlfriend, interspaced with a poem by Rolf, even more pigs in space, and the adventures of Baron Munchausen. Fozzie comes clean with his mother and finds out she's proud of him just the way he is. Skeeter decides this is a good time as any to say goodbye and decides to return to college. Tacked on is an epilogue where it's revealed that she's the actual assistant to the famous detective, but of course no one believes her after Fozzie's fibs.
Those are delicious.
What is that, mon bon ami?
Fuzzy ribs. If you can keep them down, that's good eating.
What? So what did I think of the writing? Well, let's break this down story by story. I really did like the first issue with the surprise return of Skeeter. The play between her and Scooter was reminiscent of Muppet Babies. I also liked the wordplay between Sam and his talking skull, Mr. Clacky. And the Muppet Labs bit was good old-fashioned wackiness. Unfortunately, Skeeter has worn out her welcome by the next issue. I'm not really sure why they just didn't move on to the next set of relatives, but Skeeter stays around and interacts with the other visitors. She sets up Andy and Randy to piss off Miss Piggy, and I'm not really sure why, other than she seems to enjoy making Piggy miserable. With the exception of Veterinarian's Hospital, I didn't really feel like any of the sketches worked. Issue 6 led Robin to believe that he was going to be put in an orphanage, which brings up the question of where are Robin's parents, and if they aren't around, how come Uncle Kermit never adopted him? Also, I can pick Kermit out of this crowd, why can't Robin? It's not that good of a fake beard. Also, 2 of the sketches, Walk Like a Chicken and the Frog Scouts, were both silent bits. They were okay, but it felt repetitive to do the same gimmick twice. Finally, issue 7 arrives, and by this point I'm sick of Skeeter. As I mentioned before, this plot was very sitcomish. The ugly girl from Fozzie's past is, of course, very pretty. Mom is really proud of Fozzie's true life, and Skeeter helps him fool his family, but then also helps him see the error of his ways. By this time, we're on our 4th straight Pigs in Space, and honestly, the first one wasn't that funny, although I did enjoy the puns in the Fozzie's detective story. What worked against this series? Well, for instance, having Statler and Waldorf as cosmic beings really seemed unnecessary to the plot and kept them out of the theater so as not to confuse readers. Also, certain skits, like Girl with the Goo Goo Eyes and The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, are clearly meant to be the traditional Muppet Show songs, but it's a comic book. You're left to invent your own melody, but if you're not musically inclined, they just read as rather stiff poems. Finally, Skeeter just gets annoying as she screws over Robin and the Pig Twins, but then goes out of her way to help Fozzie. She never really develops as a character after the first issue, and the tacked-on detective ending just felt unnecessary. What about the art? Well, for the most part, I have no complaints as they show the Muppets just like we remember them. Amy Meberson does a good job even curling Kermit's mouth so you'd swear there was a hand inside his head. My only complaints are the little things, like giving Dr. Honeydew nostrils, and Fozzie's facial proportions just seem a bit off, but they don't really hamper my enjoyment of the art. So to sum it up, I enjoyed issue 4, but didn't enjoy issues 5 through 7, although they were good for a few chuckles. The art is top-notch, but the writing gets a little hack. Now, this series was recently nominated for an Eisner Award. Having not read the first 3 issues, I can't really say whether or not it deserves that nomination. Also, I will caution people that this is a children's series. Perhaps children are more forgiving of these flaws than I am. I wish the Muppets luck, but I give Family Reunion a reluctant thumbs down.
What is a thumb? Dunno. What? It rhymes with dumb. Speaking of which...
Hey guys, sorry I'm late, but negotiations with my new ex-producer took longer than I thought. Anyway, today's review is Boom Studios' The Muppet Show comic book. Now what I
No,
thought...
stop.
What?
We've already covered it. These people have lives to get back to, you know.
Oui, wrap it up, Monsieur le Geek.
But I was barely in this episode!
You're welcome.
It can only improve your ratings.
So anyway,
Tune in next time for another episode of Comic Book Issues, the continuing story of a hack who reviewed a comic about frogs.
forget it.
So, he didn't like the Muppet comic, eh?
That's nothing. I've never liked the Muppet comic. Stupid bear.